Spinosaurus is without a doubt a great aquatic predator. So, what is he doing here? Like, actually, there is nothing here, just very vast open space and a little bit of forest. That's not a habitat suitable for him. So we have this Spinosaurus out here in the vast grasslands in not suitable habitat, so we have to build a home for him, I guess. And probably I have already an idea. So join me on this very ambitious trip on building this little guy and his friends a new home that will be modern and suitable for this magnificent creature. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. So I placed down our friend so I have this sense of scale and started laying out the plan for the entire habitat, which should be suitable for 4 specimens of Spinosaurus aegypticus, dinosaur, the animal which is beautiful, magnificent, and very controversial. But we will not talk about that right now. We are talking about the habitat, which is going to have, just like I said, 4 specimens that are going to use very large enclosed area and also a little bit smaller area, the fresh air, so that will be nice and suitable, so everyone will be happy, both animals, which are the most important, and humans. Over here there is this representative point that introduces you to the entire habitat. This narrow path of water is going to be this really nice cave viewing system. So you can just see the sail of Spinosaurus going up from the water. So that's really interesting, just like, I don't know, you would look like for the shark or the crocodile in a tank just swimming by you. So I thought that, especially with the Spinosaurus, it would be a very nice experience in the park just like that. And in the last part, there is going to be this vast open view for the entire habitat inside the rest of the habitat inside, and also the underwater viewing, which brings me a lot of headache. But fortunately, I found the way how to do that, and I will show you that in a minute. Okay, so we have this very simple shape, very simple idea, because that was the moment when I really was hoping that, yeah, I will get this build ready for the Monday, and this video is late, sadly, and also it's not completed yet. We are going to have a few parts. I don't know if it will be just 2 or 3, but we will see in the future. And just about a second, you are going to see how I did that, because there was a lot and a lot to do and to think about, watch tutorials and play around in the test files. So let's hop into it just in a minute. Okay, we have it. And firstly, I place down these floor pieces so I know actually where I want my underviewing to go. And earlier I decided to check the angles because that turned out to be also very important there. And also I turn on the options so the buildings are flattening terrain under them. And now I'm placing those shops that, if you already knew this glitch, is very familiar to you. Merge that, made it a separate group, and now adjust it in the water so it is nicely placed and will flatten the terrain just like we want. And then save and reload. And now we have this beautiful piece that is making, with the terrain around the water, everything actually we want. I don't know if it is working also with other parts, I mean the wall pieces, for example, but make that working for me with the shops, and you can see that those last parts of the shops are flattening the terrain and the rest is making the terrain going up. I don't know why is that a thing, but it works actually. I really like that. So now we have this really nice body of water, which is also playing around when I just use the terrain brush, so you have to mind that while we are building, sadly. And it can be very problematic. But yeah, if you are very careful and you plan out everything first, it will be very, very nice. And also this underwater viewing is the thing that why this video is late and the entire build is not ready yet. But But we have already planned everything, and now we can start the real building. Firstly, I decided to start the walls of the entire habitat, but then I changed my mind, so you can have this. I know that I bring the Spinosaurus back, so we have this really nice poles, and start building the wall because I would like guests to see this from above, the Spinosaurus looking really nice in the sunlight. So again, playing around with the terrain, so everything is on the right shape and size. And now I was just playing around with this little arch that will introduce you, but it will be deleted because I didn't like that it was looking ridiculous, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pleasing to me enough. So there is the delete. It is deleted now, and now I'm going to build this raised path that I was talking about, so our guests actually have the way to walk into this really nice open habitat, the enclosed habitat actually. And now I'm going to build the entire walkthrough, starting with the fence that will be guarding our guests from falling down actually. And this time I decided to build my own fence, firstly trying out every single one over here. And very quickly I regret that because my frame rates in certain points of the build were running down. But still, I think that this little fence that I created over here looks really nice. It's suitable for this idea. And actually I'm just a little bit proud of it because just a small thing but brings a lot of the build, a lot in every single build. So if you can, if you have time on your hands and really good PC, if you are going to build a detailed fence, so don't care, just do that because that brings a lot of life to your park. Okay, so we have our barrier on the other side, so we can copy that around, and also you can see me just playing around with the shape and size, so everything looks nice. It is connected, and we don't have Z fighting because that was one of the worst menace that I had during this build. And yeah, maybe because I was in rush, because I probably started this project on Wednesday. Yeah, it was the Wednesday week ago. So I was really wishing that everything will be nice, everything will be clean, and the project will be end so I can move on to another. But I was really wrong. So we are over here, and you can just see me playing around. Because actually, what was the inspiration? Because that's more interesting thing over here, because I'm not going to talk only with fighting with the Z fighting, because actually looking for the inspiration was actually the most represented Polish zoos that we have over here. There are actually in the main city, one of the biggest cities of Poland, and I mean that will be the city of Łódź, which in English translates perfectly into the boat, if you would like to call it like that, and also in the city of Breslau. So if you are German, you probably know this city from the name Breslau, and both of those zoos have this really big facility, let's call it that way, so you can just hop in and look at the much more exotic animals. And in Wrocław there were the very big attraction, there was hippos, and in Łódź there was the indoor habitat for the Indian elephant, a small part of that, and also other parts for the also exotic creatures. But I really recommend to do your own research on that, because that's really interesting things, and really recommend to watch just a little bit of YouTube videos, because if you are also playing this game just like Prehistoric Kingdom or Planet Zoo, that can be really full of inspiration for you to build another interesting thing. And speaking of building, over here I'm starting to build this concrete path that will be raised up on and will be on the rocks actually. Later on it will be supported by other concrete beams, so everything is solid and many people can walk around it, because of course we have Spinosaurus, so every single man of the planet really would like to see that animal in the beautiful scenery, and most importantly being alive after all of those millions years. and over here there are steps. And also in this build, I decided to do something for the disabled ones, but I can't remember if it is in this part or it is in another because I built very simple elevator actually. Uh, I'm afraid that it's not in this part, sadly. And that's unfortunate actually, but you can see the rough shape that I decided to work with, that I decided to made into this beautiful build. So now just the base, just the most important stuff that is going to be in this very big indoor section. So everyone on the planet actually is able to look at the Spinosaurus comfortably. If not indoors, it will be looking outdoors in the future episode. And what also can I say about that build? Actually, what I can say what is going on in the future, because I'm going to also play around with this shape on the ground. I'm going to lay down some concrete base, and also I'm going to build the shelter for the Spinosaurus, but sadly I also don't remember if it is in this part or it will be in the another, but I think it will be in another. So I'm so sorry because I haven't planned that, because I was running really late on time because life is life, and also the life is like being that I didn't have enough time to complete this exhibit, very ambitious one. So we have two parts to build that, at least two parts. And yeah, also there will be a lot and a lot of rocks. Actually, that's the biggest build that I have done in Prehistoric Kingdom so far. During this part of build, when I had time, I started building. I I hit the Steam achievement, the Imaginarium achievement. I think it's pronounced that way. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. Feel free. And that's the achievement for spending 5 hours at one save, and already I think there are 6 hours of work and it's not completed, so that's just say how big it is. And also as ambitious, and speaking of being ambitious, I really wish that Prehistoric Kingdom is going to add this option, just like in Planet Zoo, that you can make underwater viewing, because in this game, of course, we can do underwater viewing and it works actually really nicely, but you have to do this. It is a glitch. It's not supposed to work like that. Officially, there isn't anything like underwater viewing in this game, and if you are building like that, there is obviously nothing to see over here. And also, I really wish that if you are building something underwater, including rocks and including those pieces, these wall pieces, for example, or other parts, they are for some reason from above they are invincible. Or maybe not invisible. They are invisible. What am I even talking about? Invisible. They are invisible underwater. But if you go just above, just under the surface of water, you can see them, which is actually really weird. And it looks ridiculous if you just spend a few hours placing down some rocks, some beautiful decoration underwater. So it don't look so pale, and only thing you can see from above is the terrain paints that are actually visible. So I really hope that will be changed in the future, because that looks just a little bit weird, but still you have to work with that what we have. And now I'm building this other part of the underwater viewing. It is at certain angle for some reason, because the maybe it's not some reason, because the water over here is at certain angle, very weird one actually. So I have to play around with that, and that's the example for you that you can also do something with that, so it's not so bad looking anymore, and all of everything is usable in the habitat. And actually, I don't. Yes, over here I'm starting to build this little cave so we can get rid of the plate where our little dude is standing, and we can make the road for the guest, rise it up a little bit, because the terrain near water, sadly, in Prehistoric Kingdom is terrible. Actually, in Planet Zoo also, if you are playing around with the terrain of Planet Zoo and water, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's a nightmare, but in Planet Zoo there are mostly paths. But that's the other game. Let's go back to Prehistoric Kingdom, and yeah. The basic infrastructure for that is already laid down. So we have this little path for the guest and these stairs down. So everything will be good enough for everyone. And also for the disabled. I can't remember if I added it over here. If not, I'm going to add that in the other parts. But yeah, we have this basic infrastructure. We have this exit point, because I think the best thing for it is to be the one-way road. So you are coming out from this upper section and then you are going just past this water pathing and looking at the Spinosaurus being beautiful and majestic, just swimming around the water. And now I am placing down the base for the guests to walk around, for the disabled to just get off the lift, etc. And also you can see me adding this wooden floor over here, and sadly that's the idea that at the end is not going to be the final build, because it will took even more time to finish that, and I decided that it have no sense actually in this point, especially after this viewing above the ground. And also this texture of the floor is going to be changed from this modern rock for the concrete, so everything will be nice and clean. Also, playing around with the terrain when already is placed was a nightmare in this build, because you have to move something really high to edit the terrain under it, or else you are going to have these really ugly shapes for some reason, and it's not looking representative. It's looking very wrong when the grass is just poking through your stairs in the modern building, which is outrageous. There is the way to play around with that, fortunately, so our builds are not looking so bad if they would be, for example, abandoned. And yeah, looking nice. Actually, this build was a very big surprise for me, because starting it I was like in normal, I will finish it in normal time. It's just the exhibit for this Spinosaurus, but during the building I had even more ideas. It became even longer and longer, and also the part with the underwater viewing took so much time, so I wasn't able to do that, and also this part will be late, and I really should avoid that in the future, and I will try, and also I have to schedule my videos. So I think that after this project, or even during it, I'm going to start this very little and simple schedule, so I know what to do at the certain time. And also I was thinking about scheduling my entire build, so I'm not hopping from one thing to another, so I complete one thing and then hop into another, so everything looks nice and clean. And I'm working on it until it's already made. So now I'm working on this cave that you are going to walk into. Sadly, those rocks are really wide, this wall of rocks. At the beginning I wanted it so just you are coming into the cave, you get this, I think, 1.5 meter of wall and the glass, and already you can see the Spinosaurus, and it wasn't possible over here because the terrain near the water was just ridiculous. In Planet Zoo would be possible, but the water in this game is working in different way, so we have to play around what we have over here, and now adding some support so it won't collapse one day and people over here are not going to die. And also I was thinking about adding this normal barrier of glass, but it wasn't working with the terrain that was under the rock, and it was just looking just a little bit weird. So in a few minutes I'm going to build my own using these glass pieces in the game, so everything looks nice, clean, and most importantly it's strong, it's strong enough so Spinosaurus it's not able to come through. Also I made something to prevent our Spinosaurus from crashing into the glass, so I added some metal leads, something to prevent them. And now I'm building up the walls of the entire cave, so it will be nice and finished. Also, I really try to avoid building those parts of the steps that would be covered in the future, because just like I said, I really wanted this entire build to be complete, but it just, I have to say that my eyes were bigger than my stomach, and I'm talking about that over and over again, but it was really a very big surprise that this build just surprisingly took so long to build and end. And I think that at this point I'm halfway through. I have already recordings, but how it will be in the episodes we are going to see in the future. Adding even more rocks, so our Spinosaurus don't have even clue that over here could be guests looking very full of emotions, looking at this Spinosaurus. So the guests are happy, and the Spinosaurus is also unbothered by the guests, which is also really important in zoos actually. So the animals are not feeling threatened from the guests, so they are not attacking the barriers of the habitat, because that would cause them to be destroyed, and we obviously don't want that with the Spinosaurus, because it's not the biggest menace, just like the Tyrannosaurus Rex, but it could also, I don't know, having Spinosaurus on the loose is not a good idea, and Jurassic Park 3 told us that and show us that. And probably you have also this Paleo-accurate Spinosaurus, but I believe that this one is also the very big troublemaker. And also over here you can see that I finally added those metal elements, so our Spinosaurus won't be attacking the glass, and our guest will be safe. Adding even more rocks, just like I said, because rocks are actually one of the best things in those kind of games, because they can hide many things that are not looking very good, because rocks themselves look nice. Over here you can see the elements that I was talking about earlier. So I really try to avoid that because of the piece count, so my PC is running smoothly most of the time. But it isn't, and in the second part there you are going to see why actually. So I have to delete some parts actually off camera, but I'm going to see that in the future. And our steps are not looking so bare, so I had to add those metal elements. And now I'm just also adjusting these stairs to the entire part. Actually, I can tell that this episode could be really boring, because there is not so much to do in the habitat, and sadly I hadn't had so much time on my hands to plan out the entire episode. So we have still this old format that will be still on the channel, but I would like to change it a little bit so it is more fresh actually. But we have to work with that what we have, because time on my hands is really limited this time. And now I built this little towers, let's call them that way, from the concrete, so everything is supported. Later then it will be also supported by loads and loads of rocks, but for now I just added those, so I have already something to support that big paths. So yeah, actually this upper viewing for the entire habitat, it's not going to collapse one day. And now I grabbed those wall pieces and I started to play around with the layout for the wall, and I decided to add those half glass and half no glass ceiling, so there is still a lot of light coming in. Also adding those metal pieces, which I'm in love with those. I used a lot of those in my builds in Prehistoric Kingdom. These are really nice, and you can make a lot of interesting details using them. Also I added this, I'm going to add these wooden pieces, so because firstly I planned out that there are going to be vines from this wall and rocks. There are rocks and there will be vines, but not in the nearest future, and obviously not in this episode. But at the end I think that this wall turned out really well, And now I'm going to lay down the entire layout for the building, so in the future I knew what I'm going to do. And yeah, I have already the shape ready and the wall settled, so I know the exact size of everything. And at that point, I, I just get to know that I'm not going to complete this build on time. So here we have it. But the speed is going to an end. I hope you enjoyed this lazy video actually, and see you in the next very quick part when I say goodbye. Alright, over here you can see the glimpse for the another episode, and now you should understand why this build is so ambitious. Because just like I said, my eyes were bigger than my stomach, and this build was so huge that with the time that I had, it was impossible to complete. But we are going to have, I think, maybe 2 or 3 episodes with that, so stay tuned for that. And also over here, I really would like to say sorry, mostly because this episode is made in rush. Well, it was made in rush because I really would like to share it with you on the Monday, and it is boring. Obviously, there is nothing interesting happening over here. It's just playing around with the glitch, the terrain, and for the entire plan for the habitat. But over here you can see this very symbolic cinematic shots that I gathered, so you can see what is going to be looking like before adding some details. But still, I really hope you enjoyed this very quick introductory video, and you are going to stay hyped for the part 2 that is coming, if everything is going to be right, on next Monday on 11 AM Polish time. So overall, I really hope you enjoyed, and see you in the part 2. Bye bye.